Hello friends, how are you all? This is Lakshay Road and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to discuss about Azure networking, basic terminologies that we use in Azure virtual networks and some real-time interview questions on Azure virtual networks also. So this is the list I have prepared for real-time Azure virtual networks. So before that, I'm going to discuss some terminologies. Those of you who are not familiar with Azure networking, those haven't worked much in this, so this will help them. So let's start. This is the questions first. I will tell you what is Azure Virtual Network. What is a virtual network? So virtual network basically gives a ISO. So Azure Virtual Network provides us a logical isolation in Azure Cloud. Just like in on-premises, we have our company's own network where nobody else outside the company can access your company's network without proper permissions until and unless he or she is having proper permissions, then only he can access, otherwise he or she cannot. So similarly in Azure we have a virtual network. So virtual network means it basically provides a isolation, a private isolation to you. Let's suppose you have Azure subscription and you want to host some virtual machines, and those virtual machines are very critical from business point of view. Okay, then you will be hosting that virtual machines in your private virtual network. So what that virtual network will do, it will protect your virtual machines and any other resource which you are deploying in that virtual network from unauthorized access. So it is a private isolation or logical representation of network dedicated to your subscription. So this is Azure Virtual Network. It basically provides a private isolation and logical representation of network dedicated to your subscription. After that, what is subnet? So subnet, it is basically a division of your virtual network. Division of your virtual network. Let me open the paint tool. I will explain you. So subnet is, see, this is your virtual network. This is your virtual network, and in virtual network you will be having different divisions. Okay, these divisions are called your subnets. These divisions, these blocks that you are seeing, these are called subnets. Okay, so why subnets? Why we are creating subnets? To provide a better organization and to provide a better security of your resources which are placed in your virtual network. We will be creating subnets. Like if you go to college, see, your college is having different blocks. A block is there, B block is there, C block is there. So as to for a better organize, for first year there will be a separate block, for second year students there will be a separate block. Why they are doing so? To have a better organization, to have a better organized thing in your college. Similarly, in Azure Virtual Networks, we have subnets. We have the concept of subnets to better organize your resources in your virtual network for security purpose also. So this is called subnet. And what is CIDR? CIDR is called classless inter domain routing. CIDR is called classless inter-domain routing. So what is classless inter-domain routing? Classless inter-domain routing means it basically a representation. It is a representation of your public IP address along with a subnet mask. Let's suppose you have a public IP address 192.168.0.0. If we write slash, let's suppose slash 16, so this whole thing, this is called CIDR notation. It is basically a way of representing your public IP address in compact form along with the subnet mask or network mask. So this is like CIDR. It is very important when you will be configuring your virtual network in Azure, when you will be configuring subnets. obviously you need to enter this CIDR notation. So this is very important. You should understand this. If you don't know how to declare CIDR notation and how to calculate the address, you can go to Google, or if you want, I will create a separate video on that. Now, what is NAT gateway? So network address translational gateway, it is basically used to connect your resources which are present in your virtual network to the internet. See, this is your virtual network, and in virtual network, suppose you have this VM1 and you have this VM2, and this is the internet from which you want to connect. So what is NAT gateway? NAT gateway will help to connect your this resource 1 and resource 2 through the internet. Your resources can be connected to internet through this NAT gateway. So this is the basic definition and the basic function of NAT gateway. You can study more about NAT gateway if you want. And what else regard about NAT gateway? No, NAT gateway is okay. What are route tables? So what are route tables? Route tables basically decides the path which your network packet will flow within a virtual network. Like this is your virtual network, and this is subnet 1 and this is subnet 2. So how the traffic will be flowing between subnet 1 and subnet 2, that will be decided by the route table. Because in your networking concept, if you are familiar with basic networking concept, then you must be knowing that there are for the network to flow from one source to destination, network packets are there. So how network packets will come to know where to go and from where, what is the source, what is the destination, that all is decided by the route tables. So route tables help network packets to flow to the particular destination. Apart from that, what else? That is enough, I think. Virtual network, subnet, CIDR notation, NAT gateway, route tables, and yeah, that's it. So let us now discuss the questions on Azure Virtual Networks. What is Azure Virtual Network? That I already told you. Representation of your own network, logical isolation of the Azure cloud, and each VNet has its own CIDR block. So each VNet will be having, obviously it will be having own CIDR block. If you are creating two virtual networks, they will be having their own IP address space. Okay, and can be linked to other VNets. Yeah, this is important. Let's suppose this is VNet, and let's suppose this is second VNet. This is second VNet, V2, and this is V1. So these VNets can be linked to each other so as to enable communication between the resources which are present in this VNet and which are present in this VNet. So that is called VNet peering. VNet peering. If you want, like, your resources are present in VNet 1 and you want to communicate with those resources which are present in VNet 2, for that we can enable VNet peering. VNet. Okay. Second question, one of the most important interview question on Azure Virtual Networks. Can I use VNets without cross-premise connectivity? Yes, definitely you can use a VNet without connecting it to your on-premise. It is obvious. It is not necessary if you are creating VNet, you need to connect it to your on-premise. You can create two VNets on Azure itself and you can connect both of them. No need to connect your VNet to the on-premise. Invalid address range, that is usually not asked in interviews, but you should know. So Microsoft has some defined standards to for valid address ranges, like 192.168.0.0, 10.0.0 slash subnet mask, 172.xxx slash x. So these are the recommended CIDR ranges which we use. But here I have listed the invalid address ranges. So these address range you cannot use for your VNets. This is just to read it out. You should know. You don't need to remember the exact range. So 224.0.0.0 slash for multicast. For broadcast we have this invalid address range. For loopback we have this address range, link, local, internal, DNS. So these are the invalid address ranges that cannot be used in VNets. multicast, broadcast, loopback, link, local, internal DNS. Fourth question, is there a limit to the number of subnets in my VNet? Yes, obviously there will be a limit. If you are creating, let us consider this VNet, VNet1. If you have created this VNet with particular CIDR range, with particular list of IP addresses, obviously you can create the subnets which will fit into this VNet. You cannot create thousands of subnets in this VNet, because there will be a boundary. This is the boundary. This is the limitation of this VNet. Outside this boundary you cannot go. So this is obvious, this is common sense. There will be a limit on the number of subnets that we can create. It cannot go endless. Following limits apply only for networking resources managed through ARM per region per subscription. I have listed down some facts and figures. Like for virtual networks, we have 1000 virtual networks we can create. Subnets per virtual network, it is 3000. Similarly for others, VNet peerings, virtual network gateways, DNS servers. Just you need to remember that there is a limit on the number of subnets in any VNet. Are there any restrictions on using IP address within subnets? Yes, restrictions are there. If we are creating one subnet and we have defined some CIDR notation, then 5 IP addresses will be reserved by Azure. You will get total number of IP addresses minus 5. First 4 IP address and the last IP address is reserved by Azure, and these are the reasons. First IP address is reserved for network address. Second is reserved for default gateway. Third and fourth is reserved for to map the Azure DNS IPs to the VNet space, and last is reserved for network broadcast address. If you will go to Azure portal and if you have created VNets and after that you will be creating subnet, you will see that if you calculate it by some calculator, you will, let's suppose you created a subnet and you are thinking that you will get 256 IP addresses. Okay, but in the portal when you see, it will list only 251 IP addresses available. Why? Because 5 IP addresses are reserved by Azure. First for this network address, for the default gateway to map the Azure DNS IPs, and then for network broadcast access. Do VNet support multicast broadcast? No, VNet do not support multicast and broadcast. Can I add subnets after the VNet is created? Definitely. You can try it out in portal also. Once you have created a VNet and once you have created a subnet, you can add more subnets. Subnets can be added to VNets at any time as long as the subnet address range is not part of another subnet and there is available space left. This already I discussed this point. Available space left in virtual network's address range. You cannot go outside the boundaries of your virtual network. Obviously there should be some available space, and this is also very important. As long as the subnet address range is not part of another subnet, overlapping should not be there. If I am running my services in a VNet, can I connect to internet? Yes, we can connect to the internet. All services deployed within a VNet can be connected to the internet. When you are creating a, let's suppose you are deploying a virtual machine to a VNet, then by default internet connectivity is allowed. Okay. If you want to connect inbound to a resource deployed through resource manager, resource must have public IP address assigned. Every Azure cloud service deployed in Azure has a publicly addressable VIP assigned to it. Okay. If any virtual machine or any resource wants to communicate to internet, they will be needing a public IP. You can also go in Azure portal and check if you have created a virtual machine and you have not assigned a public IP. By default, public IP is assigned. Let's suppose you deleted the public IP of that virtual machine, then you won't be able to log in or RDP to that virtual machine. Why? Because public IP address is missing, and without public IP address, you cannot communicate to that virtual machine. That is what it is written here. How to connect a VNet to VNet in Azure? Through VNet peering we can connect, on through VPN gateway also we can connect. These are the two methods by which you can enable communication between two VNets. Can I reserve a private IP address for a VM that I will create at a later time? No, you cannot reserve a private IP address Obviously, you cannot reserve a private IP address. If a private IP address is available, it is assigned to a VM or role instance, because DHCP server is mainly responsible for giving the private IP address. You cannot reserve a private IP address. Your VM or may not be the one that you want the private IP address assigned to. You can, however, change the private IP address of an already created VM. So this was the most important interview questions on Azure Virtual Networks, and some of them are even asked. Now let me show you one thing. See, I've created a basic architecture just to show you guys for a demo purpose. I've created a VNet. In that VNet, I've created 3 subnets, and in 3 subnets, I have deployed 3 virtual machines. I've implemented application security groups on these 2 subnets, and I've implemented route tables also, IP forwardings. Let me show you briefly. If you want, I will create a separate video on this architecture, how I created this architecture, because the video is getting lengthy. First, I created a resource group, VNet RG. Okay, in VNet RG, I created virtual network. Let me type virtual network. This is just a demo purpose, which will integrate all the Azure networking services, VNet, subnet, NSG, application security group. This is the VNet. This VNet I was talking about. Sorry, this VNet. And in VNets, you can see 3 subnets are there. DB subnet, virtual appliance subnet, WS, web server subnet, database subnet, and virtual appliance subnet. In these subnets, I have created 3 virtual machines. Let me go to virtual machines. DB VM backend virtual machine is placed in the DB subnet. This is placed in this subnet, VM appliance subnet, and the third one is placed in WS subnet, Windows. Let us talk about DB backend VM virtual machine. Okay, this much part is done. After that, I created network security rules. If you go to networking part, you can see that inbound port rules I have configured. These are the default ones, last 3 ones, and the above 2 I have created on my own. I have used this RDP denied rule. That means I have denied RDP. I cannot take RDP on this DB VM, and I allowed this ASG allowed RDP. I allowed RDP to this virtual machine through application security groups, because as you can see, action is allowed and here action is denied. Whereas in this VM, WSVM, I have allowed the RDP. Let me show you. The Windows WSVM, when I go to networking part, RDP is allowed. So ideally I should be able to take RDP on this machine, but on this machine I will not be able to take RDP on this DB VM backend. So what I did to enable RDP, I first take RDP of this Windows WSVM, and from that VM, from inside WSVM, I will enable RDP of this DB backend VM. How that is possible? With the help of this rule. This you can see, top rule, priority 110. Because if you open this rule, if you check, I have given the source as application security group. It means through some application security group only I can take RDP to this machine. That's why I created application security group also. If you go to application security group, see DBASG, this application security group I have configured. Simply click on configure, select the application security group that you want to configure, save. Similarly, for Windows WSVM, I have configured the application security group. So what I'm trying to say is, see, WSAG. So what I'm trying to say is that I have enabled RDP on one machine and I have disabled RDP on another machine. Okay, on the second machine on which RDP is disabled, I'm taking RDP to the second machine through first machine. So it is a nested uh, type of thing, if you got my point. And why I did this, just to show you the application of ASG. Through application security group, I am taking RDP to this VM backend. So in that, our NSG is also covered, application security group is also covered, VNet, subnet, all thing is covered. Now let me show you the route table which I configured. WS to DB route. So I configured a route table which will route the traffic from this WS VM to this appliance subnet, and then it will go to DB VM. Directly it will not go from W subnet to DB subnet. Through this appliance it will go to DB subnet. So I configured a route table for that. See, WS to DB route. Okay, these are the routes. If you go to route section, you can see these routes. Address prefix I have given, next hop type. Just click on this. Address prefix is there. Next hop type means what is the next destination to which this route table will hop. Virtual appliance, it will go from this to this. So virtual appliance hop type I have given, and next hop address I have given. Okay, and once we have configured the route table, the remaining thing is IP forwarding. I have enabled IP forwarding. Let me go to virtual machine, VM appliance, VM, go to the networking part, go to network interface, IP configurations, and here you will see IP forwarding I have enabled. Why? If you want to route the traffic with the help of route tables, IP forwarding should also be enabled. And also one more thing you need to do in case you are trying to replicate this on your own local machine. Once IP forwarding is enabled, take RDP of this appliance VM, and in registry editor also you need to enable that IP forwarding option. After that you are about to, yeah, after that the setup is complete. Then you can check, you can try to ping from this virtual machine to this virtual machine. You can use trace RT command and the IP address, private IP of this virtual machine. In the results you will see that the network paths are first going to this appliance. You will see the name of this VM, whatever the name you have given, and then it will go to DB VM. I'm not able to show you currently because I have deleted the public IPs of this virtual machines. So if you want, in next video I will create on this only how I configured this whole entire network. And so yeah guys, that's it for this video, and hope you have liked it. I have made lot of efforts to create this video, so please like, share and subscribe, and please comment if you are having any doubt. So yeah, that's it guys. Okay, bye bye, take care, happy learning.